I think it started the day she said she felt something close. Something from her youth. Like a window that never shut properly finally got pulled down. She didn't say it to me, not directly. I overheard it, actually. She was on the phone with her sister, talking about this new guy she met while walking the dog. I was in the garage, just back from a 14-hour shift, digging through a drawer for batteries. Door half open, her voice low but not hidden. It just feels like a part of me that never really closed, finally did, she said. That was the first time I got scared. I've been working like this for years, early mornings, late nights, sometimes both. Running freight dispatch out of Evansville, Indiana. Not glamorous. But it keeps the bills paid and the fridge stocked, and in a town like this, that's most of the game. We're not poor, but we ain't far from it either. I've taken pride in keeping the lights on. Never missed a rent check. Made sure my girl, Sarah, had gas in the car and groceries in the pantry. She's been with me since we were 19. I still remember the night we found the ad for this tiny apartment near the Dollar Tree. We laughed at the roaches in the sink, said we'd only stay 6 months. That was 11 years ago. I don't blame her. Not fully. I was barely home. By the time I got back most nights, she was already in bed. Dog curled up at her feet, some show on Netflix playing in the background. I'd kiss her on the head, shower, maybe eat something cold out the fridge, then crash. Wake up before dawn and do it again. It's weird how fast things change. You think routine keeps you safe. Then one stray piece of it shifts and suddenly the whole thing's cracked. It was a dog walk. That's what started it. We got Buddy from the shelter 2 summers back. Big mutt. Loud bark but gentle eyes. Needed the walks, burns off his anxious energy. I couldn't take him because of my hours, so that fell to Sarah. She said it gave her peace. Something predictable. I liked that. Until I didn't. She met him on a Tuesday. That's what she told me later, once the truth was already too far gone to ignore. Said he had a golden retriever and a slow smile. Laughed at her dog's name, said his was Cooper. Liked that Buddy and Cooper got along so well. Then day after day they saw each other at the same time. Walking the same path. Talking about dogs, then about the town, then about life. I think part of her was waiting for something like that. Something soft. Something that looked her in the eye when it spoke. She didn't tell me right away. Why would she? What was there to say? I met someone while walking the dog and now I'm thinking about him when I lie in bed next to you? Nah. That stuff festers quiet before it explodes loud. I missed the signs because I was proud. Thought working my ass off meant I was doing right. Thought I was the reason we had food and heat and new shoes for the kid. Thought if I kept the machine running, the inside didn't need oiling. But hearts don't run like machines. And one day she just changed. It wasn't sudden. It was in how she hummed while folding laundry. How she checked her phone twice before saying goodnight. How she started dressing nicer for walks. Brushed her hair before heading out even though it was just to loop the neighborhood. I asked once, everything okay? She smiled. Yeah. Just feels good to get outside. She didn't lie. Just didn't tell the whole truth. That's the worst kind of answer. The kind that sounds safe until it isn't. And me, I just kept working. Because I thought that's what mattered. That's how it begins. Not with a kiss. Not with a fight. But with the quiet realization that someone's walking away from you while standing in the same room. I didn't even notice when she started walking Buddy twice a day. Used to be once, around 5 p.m. after she got off her shift at the diner. But somewhere in there she added mornings too. Said it helped clear her head. Helped Buddy stay calm during the day. I nodded, didn't think twice. Looking back, I should have asked more. Should have cared more. But I was tired. Always tired. The new guy's name was Matt. I didn't know it at the time. Just knew there was someone on her mind who wasn't me. She started talking about this guy from the park like it was some kind of joke. Buddy's new best friend has a dad who runs marathons. Can you imagine, she said once, laughing like it was no big deal? I smiled. I didn't even catch the hook in it. She kept saying his name more. First time it was just some guy. Then it was Matt, like I should already know who that was. Matt said Cooper used to chew shoes too. Matt's sister lives in Louisville, just like your cousin. Matt recommended that new coffee spot by the gas station. You know how you hear a name enough and it starts taking up space in your house before the person ever steps inside? That's what it felt like. And I still didn't say anything. I just nodded, grunted, got back to my route schedules, my overtime shifts, my life built on routine and fatigue. One night, after she came back from a walk, I caught her standing in the kitchen, smiling at her phone. She didn't see me at first, just kind of swaying a little, like she was hearing music, like her body was somewhere else. When she finally looked up, I asked, Good walk. She jumped. Yeah, real good. I should have asked then. Should have pressed. But I didn't. I said, glad to hear it, and went to the fridge to grab a beer. Sat down in front of the TV and let the question rot in my throat. A few days later, I worked a double and came home after midnight. She was asleep, dog curled next to her. Her phone was on the nightstand. Normally she plugged it in face down. This time it was face up. Lit up when I walked by. Text from Matt. Didn't read it. Didn't need to. Just stared at the name until the screen faded black. The next morning, I asked her point blank, "Are you seeing someone else?" She looked at me like I'd slapped her. "What? No. What are you talking about?" "I saw your phone," I said. "His name's Matt. He's a friend," she said. "We walk our dogs at the same time. That's all." I wanted to believe her, so I did. I nodded, said okay, and went to work like everything was fine. It wasn't. Kept eating at me. Not because she lied, but because she didn't say anything more. Didn't try to fix it. Didn't try to hold me. Just went on like nothing was changing. That week, I stayed out later. Took on an extra delivery run even though I didn't need the hours. Just wanted to be anywhere but home. And when I did come home, she wasn't waiting up. Dinner was in the microwave. Cold by then. No notes. No questions. No kisses. The dog barked more. Whined at the door. Like even he could feel the tension crawling across the floorboards. It was like living with a ghost. One that still talked and laughed and paid bills, but wasn't really there anymore. That's when I knew something had already happened. Whether she admitted it or not. She'd opened a door somewhere I wasn't invited. And I had no clue how to close it. You ever wake up and feel like something broke overnight? Not a loud break. Not glass shattering or something falling off the shelf. Just a quiet crack somewhere deep in the walls. And the air's different because of it. Like the house knows something you don't. That was the morning I found Buddy's leash missing at 6 a.m. Sarah never walked him that early. Not even on her days off. But that day she was gone. Her car still in the lot, her phone on the kitchen counter. Just gone. Leash gone, shoes gone, her sweatshirt missing off the hook. Cold coffee in the pot not even poured. I waited. 10 minutes, then 20. Then I got in the truck and just started driving the neighborhood. Real slow, like I was looking for a lost pet. Found her by the trail behind the old playground, where the creek cuts behind the houses. She didn't see me at first. She was walking close to someone. Not too close, but enough that it wasn't casual. It was him. Had to be. Same retriever, same gray beanie she'd mentioned once. I watched from the side road. Watched them laugh at something. Her hand touched his arm. Quick. Natural. Familiar. And that was it. That was the hook. It wasn't some movie moment. No kiss. No embrace. Just a small, thoughtless touch that told me everything I didn't want to know. I drove off before she could see me. Didn't say anything when she got back. Just poured a cup of the cold coffee she'd left behind and stared at the wall while she changed in the bedroom. She didn't bring up the walk. Didn't bring up him. Neither did I. But from that point on, we were living in two different versions of the same house. Every time she smiled at her phone, it was him. I knew it. Every time she took Buddy out, I knew she wasn't walking for peace or exercise. She was walking for him, and I'd let it happen. All those long shifts, all those double backs to make ends meet. It left space. Left air for someone else to come in and give her what I didn't even know she needed anymore. I started leaving earlier. Coming home later. Some nights I just sat in the truck down by the river with the engine off, letting the silence push in on me. One night I asked her, "Do you love me?" She paused. "That's a heavy question." "No, it's not," I said. "It's either yes or no." She didn't answer. Just looked down and scratched behind Buddy's ears. That was all I needed. Sometimes you don't need to catch someone in the act. You just need to feel the way they don't reach for you anymore. The way they laugh a little easier when you're not in the room. I didn't scream. Didn't accuse. I just started staying gone. She didn't stop me. Didn't even ask where I'd been anymore. And here's the part no one tells you. Cheating isn't always about sex. Sometimes it's just about being seen. being listened to, being smiled at in the right way. He gave her that. And I gave her space to fall into it. She closed her youth with him. That's what she said. But I think it was more than that. I think she opened something else too. Something she wasn't planning on, but once it was cracked open, she couldn't look away. It wasn't an explosion. I always thought it would be. Like in the movies, slammed doors, someone yelling, somebody packing a bag in tears. But when the truth showed up, it walked in like a stray dog. Calm. Like it already lived here. It was a Thursday. I'd worked 13 hours, came home past 10. She was sitting on the couch in leggings and that same damn sweatshirt she always wore on her walks. Buddy at her feet. Her phone in her lap. I kissed the top of her head like I always did. She didn't even lean into it. Just said hey without looking up. I dropped my keys in the bowl, opened the fridge, saw a plate covered in foil. Meatloaf. She'd made meatloaf. I didn't even like meatloaf. I stared at that plate like it was proof of something. Couldn't say what. Then I sat down across from her, let the silence drag out. You see him today? I asked. She looked up. What? Matt. Did you see him today? She blinked like the question surprised her. Yeah. On the walk. That was it. No lie. No spin. Just the plain, simple truth like I was asking if it rained. How long's it been going on? I asked. She didn't pretend to misunderstand. I don't know, she said. It just happened. No, I said. Things don't just happen. Not this. She rubbed her temples like she was the one carrying the weight. I didn't plan it. I swear. I know you didn't plan it, I said. But you let it grow. She looked at me, tired. You were never here. I was working, I said, louder than I meant to. For us. For this. I didn't ask you to break your back for us, she said. I needed you. Not your pay stub. That one cut. She wasn't wrong. But damn, it hurt to hear. I stood up. Walked into the kitchen. Poured a glass of water I didn't want. My hands were shaking. So what now? I asked. You leaving? She didn't answer right away. I don't know. You love him. I don't know. That I don't know was worse than a yes. I went to bed alone that night. She stayed on the couch. Buddy stayed with her. And that's when I realized I'd already lost. Not just her. But the us we used to be. There wasn't a fight to win. Just the wreckage to walk through. The next morning I left for work early. I didn't kiss her. Didn't say goodbye. Just grabbed my boots and walked out the door. She didn't stop me. That day, every mile on the road felt heavier. Like each delivery was one more nail in the coffin of the life I thought I built. I stopped answering her texts. Started eating fast food in the truck just to avoid going home. Slept in the back seat twice that week. Told my boss I was just trying to save time on the route. He nodded. Didn't care. No one really does when your life falls apart. Not unless it's loud. Not unless there's blood on the floor or cops at the door. But the quiet kind? The kind that looks like two people eating dinner in silence, scrolling their phones with the TV on? No one notices that kind of dying. Except the people living in it. And by then, it's already too late. By the end of that month, we stopped pretending. I still lived there, technically. My name was still on the lease. But I wasn't in that house anymore. Not really. I worked longer hours, came home later, left earlier. Some nights I didn't come back at all. Slept at the yard in the back of the dispatch office. Buddy barked less when I came in. Like even the dog was giving up on me. I don't know if she saw him every day. I didn't ask. I didn't want to hear another, I don't know. One morning, she came into the kitchen while I was making coffee. Hair wet from a shower. Wearing jeans I hadn't seen in months. I'm going out for a bit, she said. With Matt. That was the first time she said it like that. No hesitation. No explanation. I nodded. Okay. And that was it. She left. I poured my coffee. Stared at the cabinets. Thought about how much time I spent putting those in 2 summers ago, sweating through my shirt to make the kitchen feel more like a home. Stupid. That day I called out of work. First time in years. Just sat in the house, walking in circles, opening drawers, touching things that used to mean something. I ended up in the bathroom, staring at myself. Really staring. I looked old. Older than I should have. Skin pale. Eyes sunken. Hands rough from work and weather and whatever else eats away at a man when he doesn't notice. And I just said it out loud, you let it happen. I didn't yell. Didn't cry. Just said it. And that broke something in me. Not out of guilt. Not even from shame. But because it was true. I built a life on showing up for everything except the thing that mattered most. I was so damn focused on feeding the house that I forgot to look at who was sitting across the table. Forgot to ask if she still wanted to eat with me. She did at first. I know she did. But people get tired of waiting. and someone else walked beside her long enough for her to forget why she was waiting in the first place. That week, she didn't come home 3 nights in a row. Didn't lie about it either. Said she stayed at his place. I asked, "Are you with him now?" She said, "I think so." That was it. No fight. No big declaration. Just one more door I didn't see closing until the lock clicked behind it. I packed a duffel bag the next morning. Didn't take much. Just the clothes I needed, my tools, a few photos of my brother and my dad. I told her I'd be out by the weekend. She didn't argue. Didn't ask where I'd go. Didn't cry. Just nodded. Okay. And that's how it ends sometimes. Not with someone begging you to stay, but with someone too tired to ask you to. I moved into a short-term rental 2 towns over. Month to month. No furniture at first, just an air mattress and a folding chair. My cousin let me borrow a table. I bought a cheap set of plates from the dollar store and lived out of the same 2 duffel bags for weeks. It was the quiet that got to me. Not the kind you enjoy. The kind that follows you around like a ghost. You walk in and there's nothing. No sound, no motion. Just the hum of the fridge and your own thoughts trying to outstare you. Buddy stayed with her. I didn't ask for anything. Didn't want to fight. Didn't want to drag it out. I just wanted out of the space where I could still smell her shampoo on the pillow. We didn't talk much after I left. Maybe a handful of texts about the bills. That was it. A week in, her sister called me. Said she was worried about Sarah. That she seemed off. I said I didn't know what to tell her. That Sarah made her choice. And I made mine. I didn't tell her I still drove past the old trail sometimes. Just to see if they were out there. I never saw them. Probably a good thing. 2 weeks after I moved, I got a text from Sarah. "You can see Buddy if you want." I stared at it for an hour. Didn't answer. What was I gonna do? Visit the dog and pretend I wasn't watching for him to show up too? That same night, I got a message from her mom. Just said, "You broke a good woman." I didn't reply to that either, because maybe she was right. But it wasn't just me. It was years of both of us turning into strangers under the same roof. A month later, I saw my niece at the grocery store. She looked surprised, like I was someone she hadn't seen since childhood. I asked how the family was. She said everyone was still processing. What that meant, I didn't know. Probably that they picked a side. Probably that it wasn't mine. Then came the worst part. My nephew had a birthday party. One of those backyard barbecue things. Sarah's brother invited me, like nothing happened. Said, "The kids would love to see you." I almost went. Had the car halfway down the street. Then I saw Sarah's car in the driveway. I turned around. Went home and ate cold noodles out of a takeout container. That night I cried for the first time in years. Not for her. Not for the house or the dog or the bed I didn't sleep in anymore. I cried because I realized I'd lost everything that felt like home. And there wasn't anyone left who was going to come looking for me. People always think cheating is a 1-lane road. But it's a mess. A flood. You lose the house. You lose the habits. You lose the second plate on the table. But the worst part? You lose the people who used to know you best. And they don't come back. They just learn to keep living without you. That winter was slow. Everything felt like wet concrete. Days blended. Nights stretched. I started drinking more. Not heavy, just enough to blur the edges. The kind of buzz where you forget what time it is until the bottle's light. Work kept me upright. Dispatch was short-staffed, so I took on more. Overnight runs, last-minute calls. Anything to keep from sitting still. My manager asked if I was okay once. I said I was fine. We both knew that word meant nothing. I thought about texting Sarah. Thought about calling. But what would I say? "I'm sorry" only means something before the damage finishes drying. By then, she'd posted a picture of Buddy and Cooper on Facebook. Side by side in the leaves. She was tagged. So was Matt. I didn't click his profile. Didn't need to. He'd won. Quietly. Without a fight. I lost quietly, too. Eventually, her name stopped coming up. No more texts. No messages from her mom. The silence had settled into something permanent. Like dust in the corners. You don't notice it until the light hits right. One night, I saw a couple walking out of a diner. Woman in a hoodie, man holding a leash. Two dogs pulling ahead, excited to get home. I watched them until they turned the corner. It hit me like a punch. She probably laughs with him now the way she used to laugh with me. That little breathy giggle she'd do when something caught her off guard. That used to be mine. I got promoted in January. Lead route coordinator. More paperwork, less driving. Steadier hours. Better pay. No one to share it with. Some nights I'd stand at the window of my place and look out at the parking lot. Just watching. People come home. Lights go on in kitchens. Dogs bark. Kids scream. Life continuing, loud and busy. Mine didn't feel like that anymore. Mine was quiet. And yeah, I know I made my choices. Let the distance grow. Let the silence get comfortable. And she made hers. Let someone else in. Let something go that we'd built even if it was cracked. But here's the truth no one says out loud, sometimes there's no villain. Just two people who stopped reaching and got too tired to try again. I don't hate her. I don't think she hates me. We just stopped being us. And by the time we noticed, it was too late to patch the roof in the middle of the storm. Yeah? Now I work. I sleep. I cook sometimes. Mostly frozen stuff. I see a few guys from work once a month for poker. We don't talk about much. Sometimes I walk alone at night. Past the same kind of houses we used to dream about. Porch lights on. TVs flickering in the windows. That sound of laughter from behind closed doors. I keep walking. Because there's nothing to go back to. Only what's ahead. And whatever that is, I'll meet it alone. But at least now I know what I lost. And I know not to lose it that way again.